OK. Bienvenue tout le monde à la rencontre du du 24 février 2025. Welcome everybody to the meeting of the February 24th, 2025. Can we start this,
Oui,
please?
alors la réunion est ouverte. Nous avons tous les membres du Conseil ici présents pour quorum. Est-ce qu'il y a des ajouts ou des modifications à l'ordre du jour ce soir? Aucune.
Oui, aucune.
Alors, pour l'ordre du jour, qu'il soit résolu que l'ordre du jour soit accepté, incluant les modifications apportées à séance tenante, le cas échéant, proposé par?
Monsieur Mainville puis Monsieur Boisvenu. Tous d'accord? OK, parfait. Y a-t-il des intérêts pécuniaires? OK, aucune notée. Donc, on va aller à notre première présentation.
Oui.
Première délégation, c'est Viateur. Donc, vous pouvez vous approcher, s'il vous plaît. OK. Oui. La petite lumière, es-tu... OK. Welcome. Bienvenue.
Thank you. Thank you for having us today. I'm Richard Marlowe, I guess the owner of Saint Viateur Nursing Home, and we're here to present our new project as the Saint Viateur redevelopment project at almost corner of Route 500 and Limoges Road. So we're a brand new development, brand new building, and we'd like to show you what we have to offer you. So basically right now I'm here with my son Benoit Marleau. He's the administrator, and he will continue to do day-to-day operations and manage the home. So what we're looking for now is just to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing and things we think we can partnership with and sort of improve on. So thank you. Huh? Ah, il est ici.
Oh,
ça.
Merci. OK, juste pour renchérir, merci beaucoup de nous accueillir, tout le monde. Monsieur Marleau va faire la présentation en anglais. Moi, je vais juste renchérir avec quelques commentaires en français par la suite. À la fin de la présentation, on va prendre vos questions.
Alors, le foyer Saint-Viateur, ça existe depuis, vraiment, ça a été créé en 1965 au centre-ville de Limoges. Et puis, il a été déménagé avec M. Brisson, où la location présente, à 1003 chemin Limoges. Ça a été bâti en 1986. Moi, j'ai pris possession en 90. Alors, ça fait quasiment 35 ans qu'on est là. Présentement, on a licencié par le gouvernement de la province de l'Ontario pour 57 lits. So we have 57 beds in the nursing home presently, and we're financed by the Ministry of Long-Term Care of Ontario. And of course, we're in the process of developing a new building, and we wish to expand and renew the sector in the province. So we'd like to continue. We have, this will be the only long-term care home in the Nation municipality. And right now our operating license is going to be expiring in 5 years unless the home is modernized or rebuilt. So those are the issues right now that we're facing.
Juste pour vous donner une idée, le foyer Saint-Viateur, c'est 75 emplois à temps plein puis à temps partiel. C'est une masse salariale d'à peu près 3 millions de dollars. Ça engendre de l'activité économique pour environ 5 millions de dollars. Et puis, le foyer Saint-Viateur est une grosse partie de Limoges. Ça fait 35 ans qu'on a un partenariat avec la municipalité, la famille. Puis juste pour vous donner des exemples, on a été 25 ans le dispatch pour les pompiers volontaires à Limoges. Le foyer Saint-Viateur a été le refuge pendant la tempête de glace en 1998. Puis, à travers le temps, on a participé à plein d'autres activités à travers la communauté. Oui, j'y vais.
So in April 2022, the Minister Caroline Mulrooney announced the redevelopment of Foyer Saint-Viateur Nursing Home. 71 new beds were added to our to our total to make a 128-bed facility. So we had 57, we had the 71. The building will have approximately 84,000 square feet, and it's going to be built on the location is right behind the present home, detached. It's a 2-floor non-combustible building. There will be 4 resident home areas, plus the dining rooms, the spa, the activity room, and all the other accessories for the nursing home. There'll be, in total, there'll be 80 private rooms and 24 semi-private rooms.
Fait que ce qui est important de soutenir ou de souligner, c'est que ça va être un édifice à jour, absolument sécuritaire, puis construit pour les 50 prochaines années. C'est ça l'objectif.
The land acquisition was the purchase of Mr. Bordeaux's land, approximately 60 acres behind the home, which is just adjacent to the property. And it's also in proximity to the Genesis Retirement Home, which was built in 2006, and will continue to preserve, a continuum of care.
Puis sur ce point-là, on a construit la résidence le Genesis adjacent au foyer Saint-Viateur en 2006, un petit peu pour répondre aux besoins de la communauté quand les gens vieillissent, ils ont besoin de différents niveaux de soins. Donc, une partie de la famille peut être en résidence pour personnes âgées, l'autre partie peut être en centre de soins de longue durée. On a essayé de conserver cette approche-là pour avoir un continuum de soins, comme M. Marleau le disait.
The design team is a design team of professionals that have already quite a few projects in place right now. We have G Architects that was retained to lead the project. We have local architects and interior designs, Parkin architects. The mechanical, electrical engineering, including energy modeling and ICAT, is Quasar Consulting Group. The site services and civil engineering is WSP. The structural engineering is Adegian, Allen, Rubelli. Landscape architects is CSW. And the food service, laundry, and waste planning is through Kazan, all local.
Je pense qu'il est important à retenir ici, c'est que c'est une équipe professionnelle qui développe le projet, appuyée par les années d'expérience qu'on a dans le domaine. On a monté quelque chose d'assez intéressant comme édifice. Puis c'est ça. L'équipe qui est en place, c'est une équipe qui a beaucoup d'expérience avec le domaine. Ils ont complété des projets. Ils sont en train d'en développer d'autres. Donc, c'est important pour nous d'aller chercher l'expertise nécessaire pour faire quelque chose de solide.
Our construction team, the main construction team is Bourgon Construction from Cornwall. They won there's a process on the provincial level to hire a construction manager that meets all the requirements from the Ministry of Long-Term Care. So they're experienced in home builders with all throughout Eastern Ontario, and we've planned to take about 26 months to build, which brings us into 2027. The cost of just the construction side, the hard cost amounts to $46.2 million. So it's a sizable project.
Dans le cadre du processus de RFP, il y a beaucoup d'emphase qui a été mise sur essayer d'avoir des entreprises les plus locales que possible. La même chose pour les sous-contractants. C'est pour ça qu'on a choisi un gestionnaire de construction de l'Est ontarien. Et puis, à travers le processus, ben c'est ça. On a mis un objectif clair d'essayer d'utiliser des gens locaux, des produits locaux, des matériaux locaux.
Benefits of the new build is plainly the long-term care home in the community has another 25 years. We've built this building to meet regulations and standards that should last 50 years. Job creation, population retention, attraction of funding for incentive for further investment, French language care, so we're registered under the French language for francophones, care for the community by members of the community, boosting of other local services, and enhancing community pride.
Fait que c'est certain qu'un nouvel édifice, ça va permettre une meilleure qualité de vie pour nos résidents. Ça va également nous donner un environnement sécuritaire, attrayant et accueillant, qui est plus ou moins à l'image de la région, certains. Ça va être encore une fois des emplois stables, plus ou moins à l'abri aussi des fluctuations économiques, un petit peu comme une école, un centre de soins de longue durée. C'est là pour longtemps. On prévoit engager à peu près 60 employés supplémentaires. Puis c'est ça, ça va nous permettre d'avoir un endroit pour continuer nos efforts communautaires. Par le passé, le Genesis accueillait la Société d'Alzheimer pour leur programme de jour. C'est ce genre de choses-là ou ce genre d'approche-là qu'on a utilisé quand on a créé le nouvel édifice.
We've come up against a few, I don't want to call them hurdles, but there's questionable items that have been told to us. It's the need to conduct studies, more studies on municipal infrastructure. We've had a lot of help from the municipality. We've gone over and beyond what the requirements were instead of, for instance, there's some questions about the Ontario Fire Code, and we're going up to the building code to compensate for certain things. We must use the Route 500 and connect the system to Forest Park, and that's the original design that we've sort of set on. There seems to be needing some upgrading for the pumps at the Manitou station, though, but it'll be it looks like it's feasible and we're capable of doing it. So the other issue was the water pressure. We all know that the water pressure seems to be a problem, but because of the insufficient water pressure for fire suppression on the building, we've been asked to go to the building code, which is double the amount of tanks. So instead of having 40,000 gallons on site for pumping, we have to go up to 80,000. So there's issues that we've been discussing to try and make some changes. We've had a lot of help with the municipality, and our engineers are working consistently right now on finding different solutions for these questions we still have.
Ce qui est important à souligner, c'est que c'est des obstacles d'ordre municipal. C'est certainement pas des obstacles que la municipalité nous impose. D'ailleurs, Guylain a été notre Sherpa à travers les 2 dernières années. Nicole aussi a été géniale parce qu'on a dû retourner dans les archives pour chercher plein de choses. Marc-Olivier aussi joue un rôle instrumental avec WSP parce que, comme qu'on disait, certains problèmes ou certaines embûches que nous devrons résoudre touchent les services municipaux.
So the opportunity right now is long-term care. The province of Ontario has announced that long-term care is a priority and continues to be a priority in the province and the present Conservative government. This project should leverage funds. This project should leverage funds for the municipality. A high-profile project should help with visibility, and we can work together to help our community. So we need what we're looking in this large project is basically some help as far as allowing the municipality to go over and beyond and maybe develop more sustainable, or the sewer system, the water system, although it can suffice right now, but we're talking about our development and we're talking about future development of the community to provide services.
Dans le fond, ce qu'on essaie de vous dire, c'est que les soins de longue durée sont pas juste un objectif, mais sont une priorité pour le gouvernement conservateur existant. Aujourd'hui, ils ont sorti leur plateforme, ça demeure une priorité. Puis c'est ça, on pense qu'on peut se servir de ce projet-là, la municipalité peut se servir de ce projet-là pour justifier d'aller chercher des fonds à la province pour aider tout le monde, puis aussi, plus particulièrement, essayer de profiter de cette occasion-là pour soutenir nos efforts au niveau des services municipaux. Fait que c'est à peu près ça. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions?
Any questions or comments? I think you've covered quite a bit of, what a beautiful project. C'est quelque chose qui va faire partie de notre communauté, d'y aller de l'avant, c'est certain. À ce moment-là, je pense qu'on va demander à l'administration peut-être de trouver où c'est qu'on peut vous aider s'il y a une possibilité. Parce que comme c'est là, on ne le sait pas. Mais eux autres, ils vont peut-être venir à vous de regarder des manières ou quelque chose qu'on peut analyser pour venir à bout de vous aider. C'est sûr qu'on veut encourager un tel projet. Veut pas, ça va devenir quelque chose qui va être très, très impressionnant. Mais, again, no questions or comments? Or?
Well, I'm just 80,000 gallons of water seems like a lot of water. What is the regulation or what is the?
Actually, we've had other discussions on other buildings. I think Marc-Olivier may be a better place to talk about the engineering side of things.
The fire code is at 40,000 gallons, and the Ontario building code is at 80,000. And we're always thinking about protection. So the municipality has told us that they prefer the building code and have that storage.
So it's not a preference on our end. Actually, it's something that's imposed by our insurance company. So we discussed with our insurance company, we have to use the FUS to calculate the fire storage, which is the Fire Underwriter Survey of Canada. That's what's imposed by the insurance because the insurance rates are set through the FUS. So we have to keep the same standard as we have right now. So that's why that's how the reserve is calculated for this project, as for any other project in the nation municipality.
That's right. So, and it's not just the insurance from our side, it sets the level of everybody in the area that's covered under that, on the water system. So we had at another point, another building that we had discussions about, and it was the same thing, that if we let them build at the lower end, then everybody's insurance rate that are in that area are going to be affected.
Okay.
So I think they socialize the risk, if that makes sense.
And I guess it's important to keep in mind too, this has more to do with the water pressure that's available. Mm-hmm. And in an ideal world, we'd have adequate water pressure and we would avoid getting these tanks installed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? D'autres commentaires? Encore un grand merci.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for the education piece. Appreciate it. You have a beautiful project. Okay. Wait.
OK. Alors, qu'il soit résolu que le Conseil approuve les procès-verbaux suivants tels que présentés à l'ordre du jour le 24 février 2025. Alors, le procès-verbal de la réunion ordinaire le 27 janvier et la réunion ordinaire tenue le 10 février. Proposé par?
Madame Delaunay et M. Fogg, tous d'accord? Commentaires, questions sur les minutes, on est correct? OK, donc on va y aller de l'avant. Est-ce qu'on veut faire la délégation 10 minutes d'avance?
S'ils sont prêts.
OK. The Community Garden Project of Limoges, is anybody in the house for that?
Louis, Mr. Are you ready to start your delegation about 10 minutes early, or would you like to wait till 5 o'clock?
Yeah, they're the, I think they're...
Oh, sont à 5h30. Ah,
yeah,
non.
they're the cenotaph is the community...
Oui. Not the right one. I apologize. No, the community garden
Yeah,
isn't
they're
here
not
yet.
here
We
yet.
can do consent items.
Okay, how will we do that then? Okay.
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 Okay, so we have time to do consent.
Right.
Is there any item that you would like to remove from consent item? Des items à retirer? Non. Alors, qu'il soit résolu que tous les items énumérés sous 7 items par consentement soient reçus et approuvés tels que présentés. Proposé par...
Monsieur Stewart. Monsieur Mainville, tous d'accord? OK. C'est adopté. Do we want to maybe do the mutual aid thing and then maybe we can circle back? I don't think there's a lot of discussion concerning that.
Oui, c'est celui pour l'eau et l'égout avec M.
C'est ça,
Pigeon.
2.1, puis... OK.
Bonsoir, membres du Conseil. Donc, comme vous l'avez mentionné, mon rapport, c'est sur le Mutual Aid Agreement avec la municipalité de Russell pour le département de Water and Wastewater. Donc, que ce soit pour de l'expertise opérationnelle un peu plus technique, des échanges d'équipements ou même du trucking d'eau, on veut faire un agreement qui va entretenir les deux municipalités pour les prochaines années. Excusez, pour les prochaines années. Juste pour vous garder un peu en contexte où ce que la discussion est venue au début. Comme vous le savez, la municipalité de Russell ainsi que notre municipalité, on est desservi par une autre municipalité en fait d'eau. Donc, l'an passé, la municipalité de Russell a eu un bris majeur sur leur transmission main, puis il était pour manquer d'eau. Donc, on est venu en communication avec eux pour justement prendre l'eau de Limoges avec des camions, puis leur emmener. Vraiment, ça l'a parti de là. Ça n'a pas été une situation qu'on a faite à cause qu'ils ont réussi à réparer le water main à temps, mais on voudrait empêcher que ça l'arrive, puis c'est un peu pour ça qu'on a l'agreement en place. Donc, je ne sais pas si vous avez des questions, commentaires face à cette...
Ben, moi, j'ai un commentaire. Je te félicite parce que je pense que, comme maire, quand tu es assis aux Comtés unis, tu veux voir plus de partnership comme ça. Parce que, veux pas, s'il faut que toujours tu travailles en silo, ça devient que ça coûte plus cher. Puis, comme je veux dire, les safety net, quand c'est toujours toi qui le payes, ça vient que ça coûte cher. Donc, des partnerships comme ça, je trouve que c'est génial. On voit ça dans le département de feu, on voit ça dans bien des affaires. Fait que je te félicite parce que c'est quelque chose qui est nécessaire à long terme, je pense, pour nous autres. Donc, merci pour ça. C'est une très bonne idée d'y aller de l'avant.
Merci.
D'autres commentaires, questions? OK. Donc, on va adopter ça. OK.
Alors, le point va être adressé sur le point 11.1 pour toutes les résolutions.
Excellent.
Parfait.
OK. Now, for the folks that just walked in, is that for the community garden in Limoges? Okay, great. So you're up to bat. If you'd like to come up and just speak to your presentation, we'll be happy to have you now. So welcome.
Thank you.
English or French, which is
Je peux
better?
aller en français aussi si vous voulez, c'est à votre préférence.
It's up to you, really.
Yeah?
I think,
Okay, perfect. Can you
honestly, I
guys?
think it may be better in English because there's
Yeah.
a lot of English speaking in Limoges.
Perfect.
So in order for them, if they're watching at home, then maybe it'd be easier for them to
Perfect.
understand.
Can you hear me without the mic or you prefer the mic?
The mic is for the people at home.
Oh,
So
okay. Perfect. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Richard Iser. I'm a resident of Limoges. I had the pleasure to send a proposal to the nation's municipality. We went through the initial phases of what it is. So basically, it would be developing a community garden for the municipality, and in Limoges, actually, for the residents. It would be built on the example of different community gardens that exist in Orleans, exist in Ottawa region, I believe also in Embrun. So the purpose of this is to have a place where people would be able to gather, to cultivate the different vegetables that are a season for this area. We would have a small orchard that would be used for everybody. So we would plant a small orchard. I believe in the presentation I have put it, we were thinking about 20 to 30 trees, depending on the allotted place. We will take care of the garden itself and making sure that with the seasons we get everything, like we clean it up, and also we encourage the memberships. We will have a limited membership. I believe in the presentation we were talking about 30 lots initially. So as soon as they would be filled, we would have maybe a space for an extra 10, and then we would cap it at that, because I believe not everybody from Limoges want to have a community garden, but that would be the first phase. So I just have the little presentation. I believe you have it on your screens. We want to have a space where people can grow their own food. We come together for different festivities, like where we have when we have the season for to put the seed, when we have the season to pour la récolte, so when we gather the season of harvest. This is our plan. So this is, again, it's very 30,000 feet, so very high level. The plan was to have like 30 lots of 8 by 8 first, and then the option to have 10 more. We would have a separation from like using wood again, just to make sure that it is something that people understand it's a commune space. We want to have the little orchard, so 20 fruit trees that would work with Limoges. We would have a little area for berries, and we would have bees. So we would like to start with one hive, and then later on, if it works and if everybody's okay with that, we'd like to. It would help a lot the garden, right? So that and also the environment, not only the garden itself. What we need also, and what we would work on, how to get the water. So basically, as I saw in different places, the best way and the most, let's say, ecological way is to have a drilled fountain instead of using the réseau. So we're not going to use and like make more load on the network itself. And that's it. We would have like just some tools and a shed where we keep the stuff over winter, and the seeds, maybe the little trees that we're gonna plant. What we need. So first, this is the first step. We're presenting it to you, to everybody. We need your permission, and you don't have to, but we need your guidance and authorization. We want to be, of course, like respecting everything, all the rules and regulation and the bylaws. Again, we will do the preparation of the land. We would like it to be somewhere there's no trees. We don't want to cut the trees down, and it's going to be a lot of work. So being a volunteer-led force would be difficult if it's going to be like full treed area. So if possible, it's a place where it's flat and we can start working and thinking of the next season. We are looking into grants. Obviously, if the municipality has ideas or support for us, it would be great. Again, it's very transparent. It's non-profit. It's just for the people who sign up, and the land will always stay, obviously, with the municipality. And these are the steps. I'm just please slow me down if I'm too fast. So first would be just get your okay and your approval, and what would be the steps to fill out the paperwork and what is needed. Second step would be we would prepare the area, prepare the water, which is the most important. Then we will have the little shed built. We would plant the trees. We would create the lots, and then we would do the little berry bushes, and start building it and growing this initiative. What's the benefit for the nation and its residents? First of all, it would be we are trying to get like promote durable agriculture, like self-grown. We would know our neighbors better, right? So it's only for the residents of Limoges, and we would have a good practice of like to build and grow your own like food. Plus we would have like children days. You can bring the kids, they can see how it is done. So it's a healthy educational thing that we believe it can add to value for all the residents. So what we need is your feedback, obviously, and I'm ready to answer any questions. If I don't have the answer, I will get back to you when I had the answer, and that's about it. Thank you for the people at home, and I leave the button, I think.
Well, thank you for the presentation. I could just, again, I'm looking like it's parcels of 8 by 8 and 30, like acreage. What are we looking at? Like, is it 2 acres, is it 3 acre? Like, what are we looking? I'm sorry. That's the way that's the way I got to picture it. I can't break it up that easily. I can't picture it.
Just as he's doing up the calculation, I just wanted to make a comment. I think as Limoges is growing, and we're getting more condos, and we're getting more apartments, I think this would be a beneficial project for those residents, especially that do have a green thumb and don't have the property to do it on. So I commend them on the initiative and taking the steps. And then just a question once the calculation is done.
Yeah, so I'll get your question. So
Yeah.
only for the lots without the little tree orchard would be 0.4 acres. So 0.5 acres, this is only lots. When we have the lots, so the lots they have only this beside, so there's like a little fencing. There is a common walk, like you need to walk between, right? And then in the middle, we would have like a table where you would be able to sit down, where people rest, or like some chairs, because you're not gonna make it like you walk in, and so you need a little space in the middle. So I would say 0.7 acres would be pretty big.
Okay.
For now, for us, would be great.
And then the orchard, is that included in that as well, or?
I can do orchard pretty big, but I was thinking orchard, you need at least like 3 meters between trees, like that. So let me.
So I think why? I think we're looking at an acre, probably an acre.
Would do everything, yeah.
And now, is that something that you're looking to do in town, or could it be out of town, or?
Well, the first thing would be accessibility. So again, I know that somebody brought it up, so there's people coming up, condos, all that. You might have somebody who doesn't want to drive to the place, but definitely if it's around and it's not too far, it's doable. Like, it doesn't have to be in the center of the field. Like in New Orleans, as an example, they have it like almost by the highway. So people drive there. You cannot really walk. So driving there, I think it's feasible because you're gonna bring stuff. Sometimes you bring.
Right.
Like, I would say it's drivable. It's fine.
Okay.
It not be walkable.
Interesting.
Not like a walk.
Right. D'autres questions, commentaires, oui?
Est-ce qu'il y a une importance entre que ce soit un sol sablonneux ou glaiseux?
Non. Parce que nous, on va adapter qu'est-ce qu'on met. Si on a l'analyse de sol, on va s'assurer que tout le monde connaît ça. En plus, les gens, ils vont faire un remplissage de leur terre. Des fois, les gens vont mettre dans leur lit où ils mettent toutes les choses. Ils vont mettre, moi, je veux mettre terre organique. Comme ça, ils vont faire le truc qu'on voit. Ils vont remplir ça avec de sol. Et d'habitude, les légumes et tout ça, ils ne vont pas aller vraiment. S'ils aiment la terre, ils vont vraiment rentrer. S'ils n'aiment pas la terre, ils vont rester au surface. Tu vas voir, cette année, je ne veux pas avoir de tomates. C'est comme ça. Mais c'est pas grave.
Juste une petite question rapidement, juste peut-être je l'ai manqué. Est-ce que vous êtes comme enregistré comme organisme ou est-ce que vous êtes chapeauté par une organisation?
Non.
C'est vraiment.
J'ai essayé avant de vous contacter, de parler avec Ottawa, le truc de jardin communautaire, mais eux autres, ils s'occupent, ils ont leurs propres choses.
Ouais.
Et OK, on va enregistrer ici. Si on doit enregistrer quelque chose, ça ne me dérange pas de faire quelque chose. On peut s'enregistrer, avoir une chose qu'on peut faire.
Non, j'étais juste curieux pour les subventions, tout ça, des fois,
Ouais,
ça l'aide.
non,
Là,
ça
fait
ne
que
va
c'est
pas
ça.
être une personne physique, ça va être sur une organisation si on va signer, mais on va l'enregistrer ici.
Ouais.
Any other question yet?
So I understood you'd rather have this as a well as opposed to on municipal water?
I have this preference because I believe that it does not encourage the gaspillage. So people will not just turn it on and forget it. They will have to pump it. Obviously, there's like some solar solutions, but again, it's at we're looking at sustainability. We don't want one day the city says, you know, guys, look at the bill, and there's like, you guys waste a lot of water, and, you know. So we want to try to keep it as
as sustainable as possible. Obviously, if like there is an option, we would love it. But again, the plan is the sustainability is the first thing that we think of.
Yeah, and the hand pump thing is, I was glad to see that because that simplifies just simplifies things a lot.
Oui. Non, j'allais juste dire super projet. Je suis le conseillère mais du quartier 6. Je sais que vous avez peut-être parlé avec Dan avant au quartier 5, mais vraiment une belle initiative de votre part, puis surtout avec notre population qui grandit, comme il dit. Je pense que c'est quelque chose que les gens vont apprécier. C'est souvent on a des gens qui sont à la retraite, mais ils aiment quand même faire du jardinage, mais s'occuper d'une grande cour complète, c'est peut-être trop. Alors, je pense que c'est un beau in-between. Alors donc, chapeau à vous. Alors, on va faire qu'est-ce qu'on peut. Moi, je trouve que c'est une belle chose à commencer à regarder.
Merci pour votre temps. Aussi, comme vous avez mentionné, les nouveaux condos qui vont arriver, ils vont être un peu comme
restreint.
Dans le condo, ça va aider beaucoup. Comme je dis, il y a 30 places, 40. S'il y a comme une boum de ça et en place, c'est pas un problème. Mais je sais qu'il y a beaucoup de travail. C'est une chose, je veux un jardin, deux choses être dans le jardin, c'est ça. Mais merci pour votre soutien et
Okay, well, I think we have what we need as far as our
So
next steps.
just one last question.
Yep.
Je vais le demander. Well, I'll ask it in English. No, I'll ask it in English. So, I've seen this idea on the Facebook group a lot popping up and stuff. And I'm familiar with the Orleans one because before coming to Limoges, I was just atop the hill of the community garden in Orleans. Have you managed to get in contact with the various community garden groups to see what kind of funding they went out and got? And because essentially we're starting this one from scratch, right? And it's a lot of work.
So initially I was living in Orleans before I moved to our city here, the municipality.
Like many of us.
Yes, yes. And I was a member of the garden. So, and I really, really liked it. And I'm like, it can be done, you know. And again, so there is some funding. I mean, we know there's like 2-3 grants that can be obtained. We were looking at that. Again, it depends on us running after it and having the place itself and say this is something that is approved because we need this for that. So I think if we need to do a little bit more of digging, if we go to the next step, like what funding we get, let's say to build a shed, like we need $3,000 to build a shed for materials or whatever. So then we can look into that. But as of top of my head, I know there is one organization that gives grants for that. I think it's provincial, but I can give you the details later if you guys are interested. But yeah, I'm a member, so that's why even I was like, I should not leave it at that because I think it's something good for the community itself. Like, and it's not only on my person, but on everybody who will be part of it.
Thank you for the initiative, and I look forward to hearing more about it too in the future. Yeah.
Everybody gets a shovel.
All right, well
my
then
tomato,
I guess...
my tomato
Monsieur
plants at
Leroux,
home
would
didn't
you
do
like
well
to-
this year, so I don't know how I do that.
Yes, Monsieur Leroux.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Iser. We had quite a few emails back and forth. I think from an administrative point of view, the question is, where is this going to be located? As far as I know, the municipality itself doesn't own that much land in the village. So that might be a difficult topic of, are we going to take a park? Are we going to take somewhere that's already attributed to something else or is planned for another utility down the road and we put something like this? So I think it's a great initiative. It is something that is done in many communities. It's just location-wise where it's going to be the trickier part for council to decide where where they want this located.
Right.
But as an administration, we can look at the from a planning perspective, see, is there availability? Maybe it's a partnership, a three-way partnership where it's not located on municipal land, but we're helping support this type of project. So that might be another option as well. So.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you very much. Like I said, I appreciate your time. And then from our perspective, I think the location is something that we got to figure out. Like that'll be, so we'll come up with maybe a couple options and then we'll get back to you. All right?
Thank you. Good job.
All righty. Bon, on est 5h10. On va continuer parce que je pense que la délégation du Cénotaphe est seulement pour 5h30.
Oui, c'est ça.
Ils sont ici. Donc, OK, bon, ben, on va le faire tout de suite d'abord. The cenotaph presentation, would you like to step forward, please?
So I'll put the presentation.
Quick PDF.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you need a minute?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The well would be dug with a shovel.
While we wait for the presentation to come up, I'll do some quick introductions. I'm Louis Carvello, resident of Limoges. I'm also the president of the Limoges Cenotaph Committee. I will give you a little bit of background on the Cenotaph Committee during the presentation. With me today is one of our committee members as well, Sylvain Ouellet, who's also a resident of Limoges, the other side of the road in Limoges. So the two sides of the township of the village are represented here today. Sylvain's also our liaison to the school board as well, and I'll be doing the presentation in English. Any questions in French, although I am fluent in both, trilingual, Sylvain will do all the answering in French.
Perfect.
So thank you, Mayor, Council, for allowing us to present to you today the Limoges Commemorative Park proposal. As I've already indicated, we are the Cenotaph Committee. But what we're here today specifically is proposing the commemorative park option of what we've been exploring over the last few years. Next, oh, it's me. There you go. So first of all, what we're here today, we're actually looking for taking the next steps in the movements in the project itself. So what we're seeking from council today is to move the project is to commit to working with the school board to obtain the approval for the development of the recommended site. So we've explored different sites. We've come down to one location, and that location includes engagement with the school board, as you will see as we move forward in this presentation. So there's three other elements that we're looking for as well. Those aren't as hard set for today as much as that first one, although the third bullet kind of goes along with that school board option as well too, which is the committing to certain levels of responsibility for the asset once that asset is completed as a turnkey, because that's one of the things the school board is looking for. And I'll explain some of these as we go through the presentation. So first of all, who we are. We are a group of community volunteers, primarily all from Limoges, from the village of Limoges, both sides of the road. We were established in March 2023, and since then we've been having quarterly meetings, and in just the last 12 months we've been having them on a more routine basis, on a monthly basis, trying to get the project moving forward. So the object of the committee was originally about relocating the cenotaph that's located on Limoges Road. We are a registered entity now as of December 31st, so we can start doing that fundraising and control our funds towards the project. So we see ourselves as the project managers to be able to deliver the project, work in concert with the municipality and other stakeholders to be able to deliver this as a turnkey project itself. So what's the issue? What's wrong with the current cenotaph? Well, the cenotaph was constructed in 1988, but it's currently located on private property. And it's that property, although there is no pressure from the current owner to move it, the fact is, even if the municipality still owned that piece of land, parcel of land, it's not fit for purpose anymore. The fact of having to close down Limoges Road every time we need to be able to do just the Remembrance Day ceremony requires a lot of resources to be able to control the road, and it's not big enough for a growing community that's growing on both sides of the road equally at this point in time. So we're looking at that movement and relocating. But again, reaffirm is that there is no pressure from the current owner to relocate, so we have time on our side. Over the last year, we've developed selection criteria for where to locate the new cenotaph. We've come up with these selection criteria. I would say the first four bullets are the primary ones. So we're looking for that accessibility. We are looking for visibility, so not hidden away somewhere where you can't see it. We are using a bit of the model that is currently used from La Francophonie. A lot of the monuments that were built from Hawkesbury to St. Albert, a lot of beautiful monuments and visible monuments have been built, so we're kind of using them as a bit of a model. But we're also very conscious of accessibility and making sure that they're barrier-free and that everybody in the community can access them throughout the year. It also has sites that offer us multiple, not just November 11th, right? So everybody thinks Cenotaph, November 11th, Remembrance Day. We're looking for a venue where we can host other types of commemorative activities. End of the Second World War, the end of the Afghanistan conflict, any of those additional activities that happen throughout the year could happen at this venue as well. Again, going back to the current location, we cannot be shutting down Limoges Road every time we decide to have one of these other events. So a fundamental question, which I know everybody here would have been asked, is have you considered other locations? That's what's been predominantly consuming our time over the last year, is looking at those alternate locations. Can we make it work somewhere else? So we've looked at these locations within Limoges at this point in time. We've worked with the staff of the Nation municipality. So thank you for those who have worked with us. They've actually proposed one location. We explored that one location, and the committee at the end of the day had to turn it down primarily because of snow removal issues and constrained locations. So we have looked at other locations, but as you can see here, there's one location that has come through and through each time as the most viable location, and that's actually at the Limoges, the Nation Sportsplex, correction, that's my typo, the Nation Sportsplex in Limoges, and that has been resounding the one that fits all those requirements through and through, and some. So the recommended location is the Sportsplex. Like I said, it exceeds all their selection criteria. Plus, it offers that additional opportunity. If you start looking at some of the cenotaphs that are around the rest of the country and here in Ontario and here in the nation, you even have, like Hawkesbury has a cenotaph right on one of the schools, has it right on the property. So we are looking at that link. How do you continue to educate? How do we continue to pass that message of remembrance? If you look at some of the cenotaphs that exist just across in our neighboring township, the two primary ones are almost hidden and invisible. So most people, if I were to ask, do you know where the cenotaph in Embrun is? Most would probably think it's the one for the Francophonie, which is next to the Desjardins, because it's visible, it's large, but it isn't. That's not a cenotaph. It's actually right outside their municipality, and it's very invisible next to their flags. Even more hidden would be the one in Russell, which is just outside their legion, and it's very obscure and hidden and out of the way. We don't want something like that. We want something that's visible and accessible to everybody. So the area that we're looking at, as you can see in the graphic here, is that little square parcel of land just on the north end of the Nation Sportsplex. It's divided up by a ditch that goes across, and we'll talk about the impacts of that ditch. But you can see on the bottom right some of the elements of the commemorative park. So we've gone from just a cenotaph to an entire commemorative park because this option presents the opportunity to go beyond just the one cenotaph. And in fact, one of the concepts is that we're looking for about 3 elements at the cenotaph area itself. Because if you look at our current cenotaph, it kind of ends at the Korean War. So we're not looking at adding any more names, and we want to be able to commemorate all the additional conflicts that have come post-Korea. But we don't know what additional conflicts are coming, and we don't want to be adding more monuments for those conflicts. So we want at least another comparative that looks at everything that's happened post-Korea, plus additionally commemorate peace as well, which is one of the things that we also want to be able to bring into it. So hence the concept of a commemorative park, not just military commemoration, but fundamental in its core is that cenotaph itself. As you can see, so there's some elements in there. Today it's not about getting an approval of the design, by the way. today is about the land and location. So purely a real estate discussion today. What it will look like and what those elements, how those elements flow throughout the area will be a subsequent presentation to council, assuming we get the approval to move forward with this project in this specific location. Key to this, as you can see in there, that we are already engaging, especially the Department of National Defense, the Canadian Armed Forces. They've expressed interest already in coming in to build a possible walking bridge, wood walking bridge, pedestrian bridge on site, because there is that ditch that kind of cuts it from diagonally from one corner to the other, to be able to go from one part of the park to the other. Again, we would provide materials. And there's already engagements ongoing with the Department of National Defense for artifacts that could be donated or purchased from the Department of National Defense. But as you well know, there are no artifacts to be had right now because they've all been donated to the Ukraine. But we are on a waiting list. At the end of the day, our plan is to take a phased approach. So not everything will be built right away. There is the main cenotaph area is what we're looking at, and then we will build upon it. But really, we need to know that the land is there, that it's secured, and that year over year we can continue to build on it as we raise funds. So what is the issue currently? As you well know, the land is actually leased from the school board. And based on the recommendations from your staff, we've engaged the school board a couple times now, and we've met with the counselor that from the school board that represents the Limoges area. Mr. Martial Levac is very supportive of the initiative. He's also had discussions with their business superintendent and treasurer, Mr. Martin Levin. So we've been in discussions with them. Their next recommendation to us was now they need the actual organization that has the lease with them to engage them to take it to the next step, because they need to engage the province itself, the Ministry of Education, since they control some of the regulations regarding leases from what we understand. So at the end of the day, we become that third party. Although we're asking, we don't control that relationship, so we are just part of that triad that needs to be involved in this at this point in
Here,
time.
can I just stop you there? So what our responsibility would be to modify the lease in order to have this included?
That's our understanding at this point in time, and talking to Monsieur Levin, is that they would need to know that the municipality is willing to take control of the asset. So that's why that second bullet on the first part, which was once the asset is turned over to you, that you are going to be responsible for it, any insurance or anything like that ongoing, that it would be the responsibility of the nation.
Okay.
Since it's you are the ones on the lease. Once that's settled with them and that the terms are increased, then we can take our next step as part of the project to start fundraising, because we haven't done any fundraising right now. Because until we have a location, we don't want to start telling people that we're going to build something somewhere and it's not secure.
Yeah, for sure.
So the recommended plan forward, assuming that we are able to get this agreement, and right now we don't see any red flags from the school board. It's more procedural than anything to get the lease amended through the school board, is once we receive that amended lease confirmation, we can move on into the definition phase. That's when we come back to you with the proposal of what it would finally look like with all those elements, and what would be the phase, keeping in mind of all the financial pieces that we would be getting in from donations and or donations in kind, and what we could realize by phase one. Phase one, at the end of the day, is that primary cenotaph area with the Canadian flag, so we can actually relocate the existing one, remediate the old lot, and have our first Remembrance Day at the new location. Phase two would be whatever we end up devising based on the funds available at that point in time. So that would bring us into the implementation. So we would continue, once we get the definition, we would continue to work with the municipality, seeing what's available from their resources throughout the statement of work. And then we would come back and we would, like I indicated, we would be the project managers, and we would see this through implementation, provide the turnkey back over to you as a completed capital asset for the nation to take on. And we would, now, is that by phase? It could be by phase, right? And then we would continue still with phase two. So the turnkey could be a completed phase one, and then we would continue with a phase two element to it. So, but all of that could be negotiated once we know that we have the site.
So, like, again, you were not asking for financing for the construction of it? It's simply just
Not at
the
this point in
upkeep
time.
at
We've seen the finances of the nation. So at this point in time, we are just we will be asking for donation in kind.
Yeah.
But a lot of that will be in concert with the statement of work once we finalize the statement of work and seeing can it meet the schedule and opportunities based on what's happening with those nation resources. But we may get similar donations in kind from other donators, so we will see what opportunities present. Yeah, if it's on.
Juste, moi, de mon côté, je vais le faire en français là. De mon côté, au niveau des fonds, tout ça, c'est important que la municipalité soit propriétaire du terrain parce qu'on peut aller chez les anciens combattants, aller chercher un montant de 25 000 $ maximum si le projet il est 50 000 $. Fait que c'est là que la municipalité, peut-être qu'on va cogner à votre porte pour dire, ben le côté in-kind, on peut-tu faire quelque chose pour qu'on aille chercher le 25 000 de cash de la part des anciens combattants pour le monument du cénotaphe. Je sais qu'on peut aussi demander n'importe quel temps dans l'année un 10 000 $ pour faire transférer le cénotaphe, mais c'est pas ça qu'on vise. On n'est pas rendu là de toute façon. On préférerait avoir le gros montant. Ça va aider un peu mieux parce que la construction du cénotaphe lui-même est quand même dispendieux. Fait que c'est un peu pour ça que il y a une importance parce que les anciens combattants qui ne s'en pas notre groupe, faut qu'une municipalité ou encore le conseil scolaire soit propriétaire du terrain pour qu'on puisse accéder à ça. Fait que c'est quand même quelque chose de... Mais c'est les étapes à suivre. Puis ça, le côté funding, ben, ça va être comme Louis le dit, ça va être plus tard, on va revenir avec plus de détails et d'informations.
And as a key point for those listening today online is that, as Sylvain noted, is the opportunities for grants from the government. So those are on our target list to obtain, and we would work with your staff to be able to submit for those grants. As shown here as well, we have significant number of members in the committee. It's ever ebb and flows, and we're always looking for additional members from the community to participate. So with that, again, we're looking for that commitment from the municipality to engage with the school board to obtain approval for the selected site so we can move on into the definition phase.
Yeah, I think I have one question, and just as far as like the maintenance and upkeep, is there comparables to what you're having envisioned as far as cost on a yearly basis of what that would look like for the municipality? I know it's a very vague question. It's just that I want to make sure that residents know that this is a wonderful thing and there's no cost up front, but once it's turned over to us, we have to do all the upkeep, all the insurance, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
We just want to know, what does that look like? Do you have any ideas?
No, we don't have, I guess the fundamental question, what is the upkeep of the current location, which is just probably mowing the lawn at most.
Yeah,
There is
I don't
not,
think we
so
have
we don't see a lot of upkeep to the monuments themselves unless they are vandalized.
Right.
Hence, location right now is a good location where it minimizes vandalism. So there is the proposal to have a garden with it that would be there. So the question is, who's planting on an annual basis? Are those annuals or perennials? That could all come in as part of the funding envelope too that we raise. Any additional funds would go towards doing that on a yearly basis.
Okay.
But we haven't broken any of that down yet.
Right.
Again, if there are monuments, additional military artifacts like a light armored vehicle, for example, on a pedestal. There'd probably be every 4 or 5 years something to make sure that it's painted over, rusted, make sure there's some touch-ups. But I don't see a significant upkeep cost aside from the area we've selected pretty well is already being taken care of by the municipality, so it would probably reduce some of that. And it's the electrical. It's if there's a permanent electrical to the site for lighting, especially the current site has no electrical. So our Canadian flag, we're breaking the rules by having the Canadian flag flown in the dark. It would be a permanent. Now, that could be a solar option. Doesn't necessarily have to be a direct connection to electricity.
Yeah, I think that I think that.
Yeah, so we haven't gotten to that stage yet where we've
Right.
costed out what would be the financial cost of ongoing
Because
year
I
to
think
year.
that's where I'm concerned a little bit is like the ongoing costs after we have it as an asset.
Yeah.
I guess at that point, once we have the analysis, then we can say, well, you know what, maybe leave that out because of the long-term costs that are involved. But that's a partnership that we'll have with you guys. I mean, obviously.
Exactly.
it's a
That would
wonderful
limit
thing.
how you know, we have a vision for the whole lot. That would probably limit the, you know, how
Yeah.
far we go based
Right.
on your capability to maintain the
Right.
assets
Okay,
themselves.
and I appreciate that. Okay. D'autres questions, commentaires?
Yeah, I
Any-
was just gonna say, I know it might be hard to know how much it's been costing for the current cenotaph, because if I'm correct, Mr. Pouliot, I think it was up till just last year that the municipality started to help more with the upkeep of the cenotaph, because it was a group of volunteers that was doing it before. So I know you guys started doing it this year, like 2024. So before it was a group of volunteers that took care of like the flowers and like the weeding and all that stuff. So maybe we could look at see if a group of volunteers is interested in doing some of that aspect as well, so that would bring down the cost.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, we don't see, although it's a turnkey operation, we don't see, we see this is going to take about a decade of development.
Right.
So the committee, I don't see dissolving after, as soon as the cenotaph is built, dissolving.
Wonderful. Okay,
There'll
that's
be
good news.
an
And
ability
just
to continue to
wanted
move.
to say good for you guys. You've done, you know, Dan and I have been part of this committee since 2023, and the amount of like, you know, roadblocks and different things we've seen along the way and where you're at today. I feel like it's really coming. Like we can see the vision and what you guys have in mind, and yeah, so good job.
So, I agree with what she said, and I appreciate the military way of running your meetings. They are
What are you saying?
very structured, and thank you very much for this presentation. Look forward to continuing on in the committee also myself, so.
I'm thinking of one point to think about the cost of operating the place. Now you won't have to pay for firefighter to block Limoges Road.
Right.
Right there, I think
We're already saving money, right, by not doing anything. Any other questions or comments? Like I said, I think this is something that it should be something easy for us to get behind. I think you guys have done a lot of the legwork. It's just a matter of, I think the administration now have a little bit of an idea of, you know, maybe what's our involvement at this point. I know that I think there may be a will from council's part to go down that path now and see where we can do. So I think at this point, Mr. Leroux may have a comment there, but.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Wonderful project. Any community-led project is always fabulous. Our job as administration is to provide fearless advice, so it's nothing against the project, but I just want to throw some things out there. In regards to the cost, we know based on our asset management plan that the turnkey option itself is about worth, over the lifespan, it's about 20%. So quick estimate, whatever it's going to cost to build, you're looking at about 5 times that amount of money for the lifetime of the asset for eventually, you know, it's not just repair and maintenance, it's eventually replacing the asset. If council in 40 years decides they want to do that, then that's one thing. The second thing is, you were mentioning other cenotaphs and the one for Russell, that it's out of the way and hidden. That being said, it's one of the most attended Remembrance Day ceremonies anywhere in the area. So I think that even though something is out of the way, doesn't necessarily mean that it's, you know, it's not attended. The one thing I'd like to double check with our recreation at one point is we have I believe we have a recreation master plan. This is essentially adding a whole other park that was never part of the plan, right? So that's something that will have to be looked at as well. But I think, again, like I mentioned, as a community organization leading this project, I think any time we have volunteers who are willing to step up is a fantastic thing. In regards to the discussions for the lease for the school board, it's very much a political request. So we can, as you know, procedural bylaw, we can't vote on anything this evening, so we can bring back something at the subsequent meeting. But I think it would be simply council giving a direction to staff and passing a resolution that you would support amending the lease based on, you know, further discussion and details and that kind of stuff. But I think that that's probably the best approach at this point in time.
Okay, so I'm ready to say I think that's if in a subsequent meeting, bring that along, and so that we can talk about it further here. And again, I think the analysis as far as going forward, I think maybe we can take a look at the impact. 'Cause I'm not sure it's necessarily a park like where we have structures. I think it's a cenotaph, a little bit of a different in nature, but like I said, that's for us at the internal level to talk about that. So, okay. So thank you very much. Merci.
Thank you.
Merci.
OK. On est rendu, je pense, à 8.2, hein, c'est ça?
Alors, le rapport FIN 03-2025 sur les Tangible Capital Assets, la politique.
Merci.
Attention aux yeux.
OK. Donc, vous avez dans mon rapport l'ancienne politique pour les Tangible Capital Assets ainsi que la nouvelle. Il n'y a pas énormément de changements. Essentiellement, c'est un refresh pour un peu regarder les valeurs puis comment est-ce que les systèmes sont inclus dans la politique. Donc, dans le rapport, je vous liste les changements qui ont été faits entre la politique de 2016 et la politique de 2025. Am I on the right report? OK. So, essentiellement, il n'y avait pas d'exemption dans la politique de 2016. On en a inclus dans celle de 2025. Au niveau des véhicules et de la machinerie, c'était une catégorie dans l'ancienne politique. Maintenant, ça en est deux. Juste pour mieux définir aussi les useful lives, parce que entre un véhicule puis une machinerie, ça peut différer. Et aussi, Equipment, Furniture, Appliances and Technology, c'était une catégorie. Puis comme pour véhicules, ça a été séparé pour mieux définir chaque catégorie. On a inclus Controlled Assets, il était inclus. Ça a été omis parce que ce n'est pas des systèmes en capital.
What's a controlled asset? Can you define that for me? I don't quite understand what that may be.
Yeah, it's like an asset that you control, but you don't own it. So I think in the old policy, there was actually an example. I can pull it up. Give me a sec.
I'm sorry to spring this on you. I should have asked you.
No, that's okay. We don't have any, so I didn't include it because right now and it's not something we've had in the past.
But we just have to define it, I guess, in our policy.
Yeah, it was defined in the past.
Okay, well,
yeah, but it's an asset that you have, but you don't own it as part of the value of your assets. Thank you. They're assets that are below the capitalization threshold for a particular classification, with a useful life of more than 1 year, and that you control. And then in the past, it said that we needed to have a listing, but it's never something that we've really had.
Right.
So I didn't see the need to put it as part of a policy for capital assets because, in essence, it's not part of capital assets.
Right. It almost comes back every year anyways, right, as an expense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so for example, like a generator, so it's like theft prone.
Right.
And then they're not amortized either, so
Right.
they're
They're
not
usually
part of capital asset.
Yeah,
I think it's because this policy is specifically geared towards tangible capital assets, which you will amortize.
Right.
And it's heavily relied on by the auditors when they do year-end to make sure that we've properly calculated amortization. So
Right.
to include an asset that is not part of that, as
Yeah,
part of that policy,
It seems like
becomes a little
those
bit
types
confusing.
of things are just part of the operations.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So capitalization thresholds are presented separately from the useful lives, and the useful life categories are presented by the categories as tied to the asset management plan. So those are the major changes in the policy. The rest of it's pretty much the same. I think it's just like some of the formatting, the way things are grouped has changed a little bit, but overall, it's pretty much the same thing.
Any questions or comments, des questions, commentaires concernant le rapport qu'on vient juste de recevoir? I think it's pretty straightforward, so. Okay, we'll adopt it, I guess, later on, so. Merci pour l'info. Maintenant, on s'en va, Strategic Asset Management Policy Updates, okay, with 8.3.
So this is a policy that's required as part of the regulation for the asset management plan requirements. So it should be updated every 5 years, and so that's why it was updated. There's no major changes again. We've removed the capitalization thresholds because it's not necessary to be in that policy since it appears in the TCA policy that we just went over. And then the other minor changes, but nothing major has changed. The policy remains pretty much the same. Again, maybe a bit in the formatting and the grouping of information, but overall it remains the same.
Okay. Again,
It's
any
just a
questions,
refresh.
comments? Again, it seems pretty straightforward. Je pense que. Okay, great. We'll move on. 8.4 maintenant, asset management highlights.
So, 2 weeks ago, we presented council with the asset management plan for 2020, which was due on July 1st, 2024. As well, there was a presentation made to council by our consultant to present the asset management plan and give you just the broad highlights of the plan. So I prepared a report which is pretty much similar. It gives you the highlights of the plan, and it just kind of recaps the essence of the asset management plan. And the goal is just to wrap it up and then see if council is ready to adopt the asset management plan so that we can meet the Ontario regulation and then publish the plan as well as submit it to the province.
This seems straightforward to me. Like I said, it's part of good management is to set aside money every year for our assets to make sure they're properly funded going forward. 2.2% every year. It's one of those things that kind of takes us out of our hands at this point, and we just have to do what's required. Donc encore, est-ce qu'il y a des questions, commentaires concernant qu'est-ce qu'on demande aujourd'hui? Ça va être adopté pour comme le prochain budget va avoir ces chiffres-là déjà travaillés dans les chiffres. So what essentially that means is next year we're already starting at a 2.2% rate plus whatever is going forward, whatever we decide. But that is going to be always at the basis of what we're going to be doing going forward.
À la fin de l'année,
ouais, je comprends.
4%, là. Qu'est-ce qui arrive? C'est 2,3?
À ce moment-là, je pense que ça peut être révisé. Si, mettons, comme c'est une très bonne question, si, mettons, demain, un autre COVID arrive, là, puis tout monte de 25% encore à ce moment-là, ça peut être ajusté pour...
Oui, puis lors de la présentation aussi, il l'avait dit, le 2,2 ça n'inclut pas l'inflation ni la growth. Donc, à chaque année, ça, c'est comme le baseline. Puis après ça, l'inflation est par-dessus ça. C'est juste important aussi de se rappeler que l'inflation n'est pas pareille pour tous les types d'actifs. Donc, tu sais, exemple, dans Oegu, M. Pigeon avait mentionné qu'il y a des fields qui ont vu une inflation de comme de 300 mais des fois, ça peut rester comme du 2 comme ce qui est l'inflation qu'on voit.
Ouais, c'est pas consistant, puis c'est extrêmement dur de prédire ces affaires-là. Fait qu'il faut que tu aies une base, puis à ce moment-là, then you got to roll with it after.
Right.
Okay.
Just to add, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think the high-level view of this is that right now we're investing approximately $3.8 million a year in our asset management plan. The goal is to get to 11.6, so there's a $7.8 million gap. So when we talk about the 2.2%, that's getting that 3.8 million to continuously get to the point where we can eliminate the gap. That's what this plan is putting forward. So, I mean, yes, there will be adjustments and hard decisions as we look at every year, but I think it's that, because when I was looking at the numbers over the past few years, we had a baseline. We were investing, $1.5 million 1 year, and then the next year it dropped down to 1 million. So obvious, we just added to the shortfall, right? So this plan is really to make sure that we're, this is our 3.8. That's our baseline, and we're going up from there so that we can get to a point where we have that plan in place.
3.8 million. The percentage is 2.2, and we're just building on that 3.8 million to make the difference to get to where we have 11 million.
Exactly. I'd just like to add as well, I'd like to congratulate our treasurer and our finance team, because this is a big file, and there was a lot of work that went into it with our consultants, and all the department heads had to review each department. So I'd just like to congratulate the team on moving this forward. We're a little bit late, but we're here now, and we know which direction we're going in. So.
Wonderful. Any other questions or comments?
Alors, la résolution va être adoptée aussi une fois qu'on est rendu au point 11.1, mais je veux juste m'assurer que c'est clair que dans la résolution, le 2.2 pour le tax funded assets, mais aussi le 3% pour le water rate funded assets, puis le 3.9 pour le wastewater. C'est bon? OK, parfait. Merci. Alors, le prochain point, c'est le rapport avec l'entente avec GFL.
Bonsoir, cher membre du Conseil. As you notice in my report, our term with GFL came to term in December. Donc, on utilise le service de GFL pour disposer de nos déchets solides, liquides, depuis 2001, ou bien même depuis l'amalgamation en 98. Donc, j'ai venu à bout de se négocier avec GFL pour un terme de 10 ans. Les dernières années, c'est impossible pour eux, dû à la capacité de leur dépotoir. So they weren't not able to provide us with a long-term contract, but now they are able to accommodate us for a long-term period. The only clause that I had to that contract, that term, is to, at 5-year terms, we're able to negotiate the terms to either remove or add the services. So, and for the increase, it's a normal increase. We use the consumer price index. So it's been fair. So it's been like that for the last 25 years now. So I suggest that we keep we keep bringing our municipal waste to GFL, and actually the location of GFL landfill is in the middle of the municipality. For travel, it's pretty easy for us to either or of the municipality. So, est-ce que vous avez des questions concernant ça?
Mr. Stewart, yep.
Just a couple questions. So 2020, the rate for 2025 is 72.38. How much is that up from 2024?
2020.
Like a year, how much is the increase from 1 year to the next?
It was 2.1.
2.1.
Yeah, it goes by the consumer price index.
Just by that still.
So we saw a big increase a few years ago with the consumer price index that went up high. But at this point, normally in the past, it was 1, 2, and even some years there was no increase.
And now we're looking to sign a 10-year agreement into the future, so like the 2035 type thing?
That's correct.
Is 10 years long enough? By just thinking about this email that I received this week from the City of Toronto looking for municipalities to start taking Toronto's solid waste. In 10 years, are we gonna, are we afraid that maybe that space won't be available to us because bigger municipalities will be coming to outbid us? I'm just wondering if we should be making that a 20-year agreement instead of a 10-year agreement. I don't know. I'm just thinking about that now,
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I didn't verify with that, but I can definitely check with them, see if it's a possibility to extend it to 15 or 20 years.
I don't know.
And that will have more clause saying that we can able to, at every 5 year, we can discuss if we're not happy without any limited damage. So yeah, definitely something I can look into it.
And I think that solid waste dumps are going to be more and harder to come by unless we start incinerating this garbage. But if we're not going to do that, we have to think long term. Anyway.
No, it's not. It's a good point, though.
Okay. Yeah. Well, definitely. There's at this point there's a lot of municipality, like Mr. Director is saying, is We're all in the same boat. We all had long terms, and now the last couple of years was short terms. Yeah, definitely we can work with other municipality to come up with a better price. That was discussion a few years back to create a committee so that we'll have more power for purchasing power for contracts, RFP, even for collections. So yeah, definitely I can look around and see what's the other contracts other municipalities have, and maybe we can join force to have a better deal.
OK, fait que je pense à soir, on peut adopter ça, mais avec une directive de voir si un contrat à long terme, plus long que 10 ans, peut être négocié. Puis s'il y a des coûts impliqués à ça aussi, là, que de ramener le revenant au Conseil, nous autres, on peut mesurer le risque versus le bénéfice de s'il y a des coûts d'augmentation, si on va plus loin. Là. Mais oui.
Est-ce que dans Prescott Russell, il y a d'autres compagnies que GFL qui travaillent dans les...
Oui. Le seul autre dépotoir qui est privé, présentement, c'est celui de Hawkesbury qui est Maillé. Puis il y a seulement une municipalité, puis c'est la ville d'Hawkesbury qui apporte les déchets. Tous les autres déchets de Prescott Russell, incluant East Hawkesbury, vont à Moose Creek chez GFL.
Ouais.
C'est M. Mainville, c'est la capacité qu'ils peuvent recevoir, tandis que Hawkesbury est à limiter, parce que le dépotoir il est pratiquement dans la ville. Donc, c'est l'extension du dépotoir. Donc,
OK. Merci. D'autres questions, commentaires? OK. Merci, M. Desforges. OK. Donc, on peut, je pense, aller à 11.
Oui. Alors, le premier point, qu'il soit résolu que le Conseil approuve toutes les recommandations énumérées à l'ordre du jour sur l'item 8, rapport des départements et des comités du Conseil tels que présentés, proposés par
M. Fogg, M. Mainville, tous d'accord? OK. Okay, I think we're at we're 11.2. Okay, so Mr. Stewart had presented on a motion. This is going back 2 meetings ago, I think, or at least one, anyways. Speaking of non-renewables, I don't know if there's anybody who has questions about this or any more comments. I think we had a general sense of where we were at last meeting before we adopted this or before going forward. So do I have a mover and a seconder?
So the mover was Mr. Stewart, seconded by Mr. Mainville,
Okay.
as per the motion that was
Right.
déposé. So if it was all in favor or not.
OK, est-ce qu'on est d'accord? Tout le monde est correct avec ça? OK, bon ben c'est approuvé à ce moment-là. OK. Donation, on est rendu à 11.3. Le bac à don.
C'était possible, le bac à don, de le repousser.
Sûrement.
Oui.
Donc, on va repousser cette demande-là parce que je pense que M. Mainville dit qu'il n'y a pas assez d'informations en ce moment ici.
Ouais,
Donc,
ben,
on va revisiter une fois qu'on a plus d'informations.
Ouais.
OK. On est rendu à la donation pour Kawabanga. Ça aussi, je pense que faut qu'il y ait des discussions à l'interne un peu plus concernant ce don-là. Voir comment est-ce qu'on peut y arriver. Là. Parce que 2 000 pour nous autres, c'est beaucoup. Ça enlève beaucoup d'argent à d'autres organismes. Donc, on doit jaser un peu. Le Conseil doit parler à l'interne à ce moment-là pour venir à bout de voir où on en est.
Juste une question, surtout sur celle de Kawabanga. Je sais que dans le passé, on avait discuté à propos des tarifs pour eux autres. Puis je comprends, là, en regardant la demande, c'est pour aider des jeunes qui sont dans des situations un petit peu plus démunies. Tu sais. Mais j'aimerais qu'on prenne en considération aussi combien on leur donne techniquement quand vient à des tarifs préférentiels.
Absolument.
Aussi, là,
Je pense que ça va faire partie de la discussion à l'interne à ce moment-là.
Merci beaucoup.
Parce que, comme j'ai dit, je pense que nous autres, avec les tarifs préférentiels, on veut savoir les vrais coûts au bout de ligne. Là. Je pense qu'à ce moment-là, Monsieur Lafrance puis M. Leroux peut-être peuvent faire une analyse vite faite Je veux pas que vous passiez des heures et des heures là-dessus, mais juste...
Non, mais je suis certain, M. Lafrance pourrait donner un petit peu d'informations. Il y a un gros rabais qui est donné à Cowabunga pour nos 2 centres, ça c'est certain. Je ne sais pas si tu as des chiffres que tu pourrais partager, juste en high level.
Juste vite fait, les taux qui étaient approuvés là, dans les consent items, c'est 50% des salles. Donc ça n'inclut pas genre le terrain de soccer, ça n'inclut pas le terrain, le bowling, donc tel que la location gratuite, puis ça n'inclut pas la patinoire quand elle est disponible. Comme cet été n'est pas disponible, mais les années précédentes. Donc ce montant-là n'est pas calculé dans le 50% des rabais.
Mais au niveau des dons, M. Lafrance, si j'ai bien compris, la demande de bourse, c'est vraiment, ça va directement à des enfants. C'est pas comme pour financer les activités générales de Cowabunga, comme on les aide avec comme des rabais sur les salles. Ça l'aide, comme je dis, l'organisation. Tandis que la bourse, c'est vraiment, eux, ils reçoivent tant de bourses, puis ça, ils le redonnent directement à des familles pour qu'il y ait une semaine gratuite.
OK.
Ouais.
Alors, nous allons le ramener à la prochaine réunion. Oh, pardon, désolé, monsieur.
Juste une question, monsieur le maire. Juste une question comme ça. On donne de l'argent à une organisation pour que eux autres, ils donnent à des familles in need. So they're looking great. However, it's the municipality that has given the funds. If that's something the municipality wishes to do, to have that kind of program, I would suggest that we look at putting a program in place that we would manage, and it wouldn't be restricted to this one organization, because there's other organizations in the nation that do similar type of programming, I'm sure. So that might be something if we want to go in that direction and look at, similar to our, like we have the diaper program where people can apply and get a rebate. So, you know, perhaps it's something along those lines, but that's just food for thought.
Yeah, and that's why I think we need to have internal discussions and figure that out. OK? Fait qu'on va le rapporter plus tard, là, une fois qu'on est plus informé de notre côté, puis on a des options présentées.
Est-ce que vous voulez prendre une pause maintenant ou terminer l'ordre du jour?
On va finir en 11.5, le dernier don, puis après ça, on va prendre une pause. OK? Donc, 11.5, 11.5, c'est une donation de l'Union culturelle des Franco-Ontariens de Saint-Isidore. OK? Donc, si je peux voir, ils demandent, excuse-moi, c'est pas la bonne affaire. Donc, ils veulent avoir 1 000 $ pour avoir une location de salle, puis à ce moment-là, ils veulent aller en dehors de notre municipalité pour louer une salle ailleurs. À l'église? OK, je comprends. À Saint-Isidore. OK, I understand now. I'd rather rent one of our halls. Je pense que c'est quelque chose que je préfère qu'on louerait une de nos propres salles à ce moment-là. Donc, je sais que l'année passée, on les a donné 500 $, je pense.
Oui.
Donc, je pense que... Puis, monsieur...
Moi aussi, 250 de quartier 1.
OK. Donc, à ce moment-là, ça va être le total de 500 $.
Alors, be it resolved that council approves giving a total donation of $500 to the Union culturelle des Franco-Ontariens de Saint-Isidore for their activities for the year 2025 to be taken from the following donation accounts: $250 from Ward 1 and $250 from Ward 2.
OK.
OK. Proposé par?
Monsieur Stewart puis Monsieur Mainville, tout le monde est d'accord avec ça? OK, super. Donc, je pense qu'on va prendre une pause d'une demi-heure, c'est ça?
Oui, parfait. Et on va revenir pour 6 heures.
Super.
Merci. Alors, nous sommes de retour, Monsieur le maire.
OK, welcome back, everybody. Là, maintenant, on va y aller aux section 12, la section des bylaws.
C'est ça. Alors, qu'il soit résolu que tous les règlements ci-dessous, tels que présentés à l'ordre du jour le 24 février 2025, soient adoptés en première, deuxième et troisième lecture. Est-ce que vous voulez que je les énumère ou c'est correct? Non,
Je pense qu'on les connaît
C'est bon.
tous. Hein.
Parfait. Alors, proposé par?
Monsieur Fogg, Monsieur Lalande, tous d'accord? OK, c'est
Parfait.
tout adopté.
Alors, j'aimerais inviter Mme Langlois-Caisse à lire sa déclaration en tant que greffière adjointe qui va prendre effet le 3 mars.
Merci, madame. Alors, I, Julie Langlois-Caisse, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially do the best, to the best of my knowledge and ability, execute the office of Deputy Clerk of the Corporation of the Nation Municipality, to which I have been appointed, that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof, for the exercise of any partialities or malversation or any other undue execution of such office, and that I have not, by myself or partner, either directly or indirectly, any interest in any contract with or on behalf of the corporation except that arising out of my office as deputy clerk.
Alors, nous pouvons procéder.
OK. Bon, ben, félicitations, Julie. OK. Maintenant, on s'en va à l'item 14. Monsieur Lalande, vous voulez avoir une discussion concernant le recyclage?
Oui, c'est... je sais que dans mon quartier, on a commencé à avoir des problèmes. Ça fait 6 semaines, 6 ou 7 semaines. Mais je parle juste de recyclage. Je parle pas de... Les vidanges, là, ça n'a pas changé. Ça fonctionne très bien. Le recyclage, là, je ne sais pas pourquoi, là, mais depuis, j'ai une idée pourquoi, là, mais je vous dirais, les 7 dernières semaines, là, ils n'ont pas passé pour 3 semaines, peut-être 4 semaines d'affilée. Je ne sais pas si on dit qu'ils ont passé à 6 heures le matin ou 7 heures le matin, ou en tout cas, je sais que moi, j'ai dormi mes recyclages en même temps que les vidanges, tout, puis ils ont pas été ramassés. Mais je suis venu à bout de faire ramasser mon recyclage un matin pour la première fois depuis 7 semaines.
Oh boy.
Puis je sais que mon voisin, parce que je vois son entrée, il y a... oh, excusez. Il y a 3 semaines, 3 ou 4 semaines, lui mettait son recyclage là, mais ça passait la journée là. Puis, à un moment donné, ben, il y a une charrue qui a passé, puis... non, excuse. Il y a une journée, c'était le vent, quand on a eu des gros vents, là, puis ces cannes de plastique, là, ces bouteilles de plastique, là, ça s'est étendu dans le champ du voisin en face, puis... en tout cas, mais là, je sais que... C'est parce que moi, ma grosse affaire, c'est que on me dit que c'est pas la municipalité qui est responsable du recyclage, c'est la nouvelle entente, c'est la province. Mais là, j'ai des membres de mon quartier qui m'appellent moi, puis ils disent, ben, comment ça fait un mois qu'on met notre recyclage au chemin, puis il se fait pas ramasser.
Alors, c'est une question d'être une voix... Ils veulent avoir le voix entendu.
Puis c'est que je les réfère au site. Puis le site, ça dit, ben c'est nous autres qui fournit l'horaire, puis les journées, puis les heures, puis tout ça. Mais si c'est pas nous autres qui est responsable de ça, ben y a-t-il moyen d'ajuster le site pour que ça soit évident que le recyclage, pas les vidanges, le recyclage, c'est contrôlé par la province maintenant, puis oui, on a des problèmes, puis la municipalité essaye de régler ce problème-là, mais c'est contrôlé par la province, puis parce que les plaintes, c'est bien beau, on me fait des plaintes à moi, mais puis là, ben quand je me suis informé, on me disait qu'on avait des problèmes de recyclage dans les autres quartiers aussi. Fait que c'est à travers la municipalité. Puis même si on regarde encore, si on creuse plus profond, ben les autres municipalités aussi, apparemment, ils ont de difficultés avec le recyclage. Fait que...
Est-ce que c'est le cas, M. Deforges?
Oui, effectivement. Le problème que nous avons présentement avec le recyclage, c'est que c'était transféré à la municipalité, comme vous savez, pas à la municipalité, mais à la province, le 1er juillet 2023. Donc, ça fait pratiquement 2 ans que c'est plus notre responsabilité. Ils sont obligés de suivre l'horaire établi par les municipalités qu'on avait déjà en place. Donc, nous, si la collecte se fait le lundi, il faut qu'elle demeure encore le lundi, il faut que ça soit encore mélangé. Donc, le gros problème qu'on a, c'est que leur horaire à eux change régulièrement. Donc, si ils étaient habitués de passer à 3 heures l'après-midi à un tel endroit, ça se peut fort bien qu'ils passent à 7 heures le matin. À cause qu'ils ont l'entreprise qui a eu le contrat, ils ont souvent des brises, souvent des différents employés, donc ils modifient les runs. Ce qui fait en sorte que, hey, on passe par là, on va commencer par là plus vite. Donc, c'est en venant le cas de M. Lalande, on a eu plusieurs discussions. Je me suis informé, puis c'était ça le cas. Ils ont décidé de changer cette route-là à plus tôt. Donc, mais ils ne peuvent pas passer avant 7 heures le matin, parce que notre bail là stipule 7 heures. D'autres municipalités stipulent 8 heures. Donc, c'est pour ça qu'ils favorisent, nous, en premier, de dire hey, on va commencer à 7 heures, puis on ramasse les recyclages. C'est pour ça, c'est l'ajustement des résidents envers l'heure de cueillette. C'est peut-être pas la date, mais l'heure de cueillette. C'est la personne qui est habituée de ramasser à midi, à 11h45, il va mettre ses vidanges, il va mettre son recyclage, mais ils ont passé à 7 heures. Donc, c'est là le problème qu'on a présentement. Donc, j'ai averti l'entreprise à plusieurs reprises. Je leur ai dit, c'est possible de garder les mêmes heures jusqu'à la prochaine, comme le plus constamment possible, puis jusqu'à l'an prochain, parce que l'an prochain, il va y avoir beaucoup de changements qui vont s'apporter au recyclage. Pour donner suite aussi à M. Lalande, j'ai contacté le département de communication, puis oui, on peut faire des modifications de notre site web pour pouvoir aviser davantage que hey, la cueillette, il faut qu'elle soit... Les recyclages, il faut qu'ils soient mis à 7 heures. Puis, il n'y a pas d'heure spécifique. Donc, on va faire des modifications de notre site web. J'espère que cela vous convient quand même. Là. Je ne sais pas si vous avez d'autres suggestions qu'on peut apporter ou que vous aimeriez qu'on apporte.
Bien, ça va aider certains pour, en fait, de communiquer avec les gens, les attentes de la municipalité puis les nouvelles normes. Écoute, là.
Moi, j'aimerais ça que ça soit plus... ça soit plus descriptif sur notre site, puis que les gens puissent comme envoyer un avertissement comme quoi que prenez note qu'il y a eu des changements, puis s'il y a des changements à l'horaire, ben prenez note, parce que là, c'est comme... c'est le site, il n'a jamais été modifié depuis que... Si on a changé en 2023, ben ça a-tu été modifié? En tout cas, j'aimerais ça que ça soit, au lieu qu'on reçoit tous des téléphones, ben là, c'est quoi? Comment ça? Ben le site, si le site est très descriptif, ben ça peut peut-être aider.
Parfait, c'est noté. On va essayer de faire les modifications là, nécessaires.
Merci beaucoup.
OK, donc, est-ce qu'il y a d'autres choses? Oui.
Juste une question vite faite. Fait que vous avez fait mention là, qu'il y a certains endroits, c'est 7 heures, certains, c'est 8 heures. Est-ce que la province ou le contracteur pour la province vous envoie genre une description de route pour la municipalité? Genre, vous avez fait mention comme, on va dire, ils passent vers 7 heures, eux autres. Puis, moi, c'est totalement l'opposé, right? Moi, je reçois des plaintes à cause le monde dit, ils m'ont oublié, mais je suis constamment en train de faire un copy and paste parce que chez nous, ils passent pas avant 6 heures le soir à cette heure. T'sais, avant, ils passaient tout le temps au milieu de la journée, tout ça. Puis... Mais là, je leur dis, moi, dans mon quartier, j'ai vu passer en avant de chez nous jusqu'à 6 heures, fait qu'inquiétez-vous pas, ils vont passer. Ceci dit, s'ils vous envoieraient comme une map, on va dire, puis on s'entend, là, c'est pas hyper détaillé, mais Je peux dire aux résidents, écoute, dans notre quartier, dorénavant, ils vont passer entre 3 heures l'après-midi puis 7 heures le soir. T'sais. So, je suis juste pas sûr les détails que vous recevez de la province suffit que c'est plus sous votre purview comme c'est là.
OK. Je peux vérifier auprès d'eux autres. Nous autres, quand la transition s'est faite, c'est nous qui a donné à la municipalité, pas à la municipalité, mais à l'entreprise, nos routes. Puis on leur a indiqué, ça c'est nos routes, ça c'est les maisons qu'on ramasse, puis ça c'est l'itinéraire. Qu'est-ce qu'ils en ont fait? Ils ont fait ça pour 2 ans ou presque, puis ça allait bien. Puis là, ils ont décidé, comme vous avez mentionné, M. Boisvenu, qu'ils ont décidé de passer à 6 heures à Limoges. Puis plusieurs fois, j'ai eu cette plainte-là qu'ils n'ont pas ramassé, puis j'ai fait le même commentaire disant qu'ils ont jusqu'à 6 heures ou 7 heures le soir pour le faire. Donc, c'est certainement, je peux m'informer auprès d'eux pour nous demander qu'il y ait un itinéraire plus fixe ou qu'on aille les heures environ pour qu'on peut indiquer. Là,
je pense aussi à un simple update de notre page que je peux partager en même temps. Ça va... It's gonna silence a lot of questions. Là, fait que, merci beaucoup.
Merci.
OK. Donc, je pense qu'on peut y aller à l'ajournement. Je pense que c'est tout.
Oui, je veux juste savoir s'il y a des annonces de la part des membres du Conseil.
Oui, pour nous, ça serait dans le fond pour... j'ai l'information plus en détail ici. Dans le fond, ça va être le 22 mars. Je sais que c'est un petit peu dans quelques semaines d'ici, mais les gens doivent s'inscrire. Ça va être un puzzle competition, une compétition de casse-tête qu'on va avoir à Limoges, à l'école Saint-Viateur. Alors, les gens peuvent aller voir sur Facebook pour plus de détails, mais je veux juste l'annoncer parce que c'est quand même dans 3-4 semaines, mais les gens doivent s'inscrire à l'avance.
Alors...
Anything else? D'autres choses?
Dan.
Juste ce vendredi, l'Association des pompiers de Limoges, souper communautaire, bingo. École Saint-Viateur, salle communautaire. Venez en grand nombre. Merci.
Parfait.
And tomorrow night, Saint-Bernardin Community Hall, community open house to discuss the going forward of the hall here and how we're going to work together to move forward with that. So tomorrow night, 7 o'clock in Saint-Bernardin.
Peut-être aussi, je suis en terminant pour juste mentionner qu'avec le règlement 12.7, maintenant, on a un comité de bibliothèque. Donc, c'est intéressant peut-être de juste souligner qu'on va avoir des rencontres puis qu'on repart dans le fond de la machine. M. Lalonde et moi, on va siéger sur le conseil de bibliothèque. Fait qu'on va avoir des nouvelles avec des dates bientôt.
Parfait.
Alors, pour le règlement de confirmation de procédure, qu'il soit résolu que le règlement 15-25 pour confirmer les procédures du Conseil à sa réunion ordinaire le 24 février 2025 soit lui adopté en première, deuxième, troisième lecture, proposé par...
M. Boisvenu, M. Mainville, tous d'accord? OK, donc.
Parfait. Et ensuite, j'ai l'avis de prochaine réunion publique. En théorie, c'est le 10 mars, mais j'ai reçu des conflits d'horaire. Donc, je vais communiquer avec chaque membre du conseil pour déterminer les prochaines dates. Et ensuite, ça va être publié sur le site web.
Excellent.
OK.
Merci.
Parfait. Alors, c'est tout. C'était journée. Merci.
Bon, passez une belle journée tout le monde.